My name is Jaswant Kaur, and I am a company secretary by profession, a writer by heart, and a development sector professional by choice. So, as far as my engagement with organizations is concerned, I have worked with Deepalaya. I am right now currently the executive committee member of VANI and vice president of BITSA Alumni Trust. So BITSA is basically, it's a Pilani based organization doing some amazing work in education, healthcare, livelihood, and community development. When people, they look at NGOs in a very skeptical manner, BITSA Alumni Trust is really unique because it works in collaboration with various organizations, essentially NGOs, to implement its activities in Pilani. Pilani is an area which is well known for education, yet it is backward in many terms, in many regions, many parameters. People in general think that, NGOs mean a lot of money is there. They have a lot of money in their hands. I mean, as a representative of the social sector, I would say that we call ourselves non-profit organizations, non-government organizations, but we deal with a lot of public money. So when it comes to spending our own money, when we think that our own resources, we think always twice. I feel that when NGOs, they are dealing with public, they should give more thought while spending amounts because it's essentially public money. When it comes to well-handled resources, practices that Deepalaya has been following is to make sure that whatever resources they have in their hands, they are well utilized for the benefit of the community and the stakeholders. So Deepalaya essentially had a huge building, I would say. They had 2 schools, huge campus in Haryana where a children's home is associated, where a health center is there. Even the head office building is Deepalaya's own building. So, for example, like in the head office, the campus had 3 floors. So one floor was given on rent for another NGO. Second floor was used by the head office people and they were utilizing it. While the ground floor, they had certain programs, which were implemented for the benefit of the community. Deepalaya had vehicles. So they ensured that they are utilized well. They had systems in place. In fact, the person who rode the vehicle used to sign a logbook saying that, this is the place he went and this is the purpose for which the vehicle was utilized. Similarly, like while spending money, while purchasing certain equipments or, stationery or resources which were to be put to use for program implementation. So we had a purchase committee. In fact, this purchase committee composed of people from all the departments. So like Deepalaya had departments like finance was another department, admin and accounts was another department, then programs, human resources. So from all the departments, there was one representation in that purchase committee. And whatever they had a practice of having at least 3 quotations for buying, major equipment and major material. So the purchase committee used to open those quotations in front of everyone. So it was a very transparent kind of a process that was followed. If I talk about Deepalaya's finance policy, so they had a restriction like beyond 500 rupees. Money will not be spent in cash. Extra effort was made to ensure that, check payments and, online payments were accepted instead of cash. So, I would say that, from the very beginning, these procedures were established and to ensure that there was certain internal control mechanism and all the resources are utilized well. Another pillar which I would like to speak about is strong partnerships. So this I will speak in the context of BITSA Alumni Trust. BITSA is one organization who works very closely with NGOs, and they feel that if somebody has already found a solution to a problem and the solution is replicable and scalable, so why not ask that NGO to collaborate with BITSA and get that solution implemented. NGOs, they generally face a financial crunch. So when it comes to fundraising, many times donors approach the NGOs directly and they will say that this is the kind of money I have and I want you to work in this particular area and this particular activity. So what happens generally is that many organizations accept this and they start working on that without thinking that whether it falls in line with their vision or not. So whenever it comes to deciding like which program should I be implementing, I always, ask myself, sit back for a while and ask myself that whether it falls within my vision. VANI ensures that their board members, they are in line with what the main activities of the organization are. The board meeting agenda, they're always shared well in advance. They follow certain practices of making sure that certain key decisions, they are taken in line after consultation with the board. So from having a committee on proposal writing to having a committee on raising membership fees, so VANI has it all on their board. So they ensure that their members, they are well engaged, they are on the same page. If I talk about internal management, leaders, they certainly have a big role in strengthening any organization, be it comes to utilization of resources, ensuring that the team is happy, they are in line with the agenda of the organization, and they are not digressing from their main objective. If I talk about the current scenario, I feel that the role of the organizations, NGO sector, is much more than it was, a few years ago. At the same time, yes, there is a lot of political pressure that the NGO sector is facing right now. There is a lot that the NGOs have to comply with in terms of law, in terms of regulations. So I feel that the NGO sector has been a very, very resilient sector. So if we all feel that the NGO sector is being deprived, or there are certain organizations because of which the entire social sector is actually facing difficulties, I feel that there is greater need for coming together for the NGO sector to voice their concerns openly and have a discussion face to face with the government agencies. But it does not affect the role of the NGO sector at all. In fact, the NGO sector is much more needed right now so that we can support the stakeholders that are highly dependent on our work. Earlier, I gave an example of Bitsal in my trust, which is actually collaborating with different NGOs for achieving their objectives. So I think this is a great example of collaboration. Even, when it came to Deepalaya also worked in collaboration with various NGOs. In Deepalaya, we used to work on menstrual hygiene and many other life skills of students. So we felt that why should we, waste our time in reinventing the entire wheel? There is an organization which has worked very, very hard and very, very closely on developing certain modules. Why not collaborate with them? So I feel that as in NGOs, we need to find common purpose which can be achieved in collaboration with different stakeholders and hand in hand instead of standing opposite to each other. So there was a question like, are Indian NGOs undertaking adequate responsive decision making? This was a question which was given to me, and I would like to actually delve a little bit on this also. This is very, very important, how to ensure that all the stakeholders, their interests are taken care of while achieving our own vision and mission. Basically, the pillar of responsible decision making actually deals like we should ensure that decision making at the leadership level is done while taking care of the feedback of our stakeholders. So I would like to say that NGOs should build this system in their processes itself. So when it comes to segregation of stakeholders, we have a single NGO at a particular point of time deals with several stakeholders, like their staff is one of the stakeholder, their beneficiaries is one of the stakeholder, then government, and then of course their board members and many others. So I think that as civil society organizations or the NGO sectors, if I talk about HR, so how to make sure that your employees, they are well motivated and their feedback is taken care of while following your HR systems and processes. So you can always have a small suggestion box where people can drop in their feedback or their suggestions for the organization, and you can give freedom to people. Like if they want to name themselves, they can certainly put in their names, and if somebody is not feeling comfortable, then even anonymous feedback can be taken. So this is one way. Another is if I talk about programs. So program implementation, people can have process for feedback from the beneficiaries and stakeholders. It could be done either on a quarterly basis or on a half-yearly basis or on a yearly basis, whichever way a particular organization, feel good or, important in view of the resources the organization has. So this will only help us in staying true to our objectives and keeping our vision very very close to our heart, because ultimately we are not we are existing over here to serve the stakeholders. So this will help us to be more effective and more relevant as well.